Good morning, friends. It is September 29th of 2025. It's a Monday. Really just at the beginning of the Monday. It's still dark out. Early morning. And I just want to be fairly quick with this one. I'm looking forward in October to presenting some of these Google decks, primarily the Quadrace deck with some context maybe. More context from Dimension deck just to get the ball rolling. Like, why do we learn about quadrates in this channel? Because it helps us put together a better picture of Fuller's meanings in synergetics, which are not dependent as strongly on the surrounding culture as you might imagine at first. Like when you say fourth dimension or 4D, what do you really mean by that? And in a vacuum, pretty much nothing. But as you add context, sort of like one of these diffusion engines, as you tease out some kind of graphic from the text, 4D takes on shape, texture, but it could be in a very variety of namespaces. I want to switch to this path stem idea in a second, but I'm going to say that I'm looking forward to presenting to it's called the Dead Mathematician Society. If you're familiar with the Robin Williams movies, Dead Poet Society was one, and Dead Mathematician Society is kind of a play off of that movie. Kind of like My School of Tomorrow is a play off the movie House of Tomorrow. Movie references. So I just wanted to say that there's a lot of Portland in the news right now. That's another thing that's happening. Check back in the timelines and see end of September 2025. It was kind of fun because we were being supposedly invaded by I don't know, some kind of paramilitary. Was it just the National Guard or repurposed somehow? It wasn't ever clear exactly what the chain of command was exactly. It didn't really make any real sense to anybody in Portland either because there wasn't really much happening. It was kind of a sleepy summer coming to an end. Very much over, actually. We've already had the fall solstice, but it's not much going on here in terms. See, here's what I'll say: the front line is cyberspace, or I call it Siberia, but the streets are not the front line. And so I know for cable news and stuff, you want spectacle, you want to see like stuff happening in the streets, but really it's all being fought in more of a mental way where there's more nuance. Like just, I mean, there's still going to be big demonstrations. That's not going away right away. Like October 18th, I'll see you there and that kind of thing. But I just wanted to underline that Portland is very reading, like we read a lot. Read college, something else, but it's an introverted city. It's I don't know, navel gazing you want to call it, but it's outward looking. We're intellectuals, This is Ursula Le Guin territory, like that. So if you want to know what's happening, I wouldn't just be watching the security cameras, looking through those and watching the streets. It's not much happening. It's not really where it's happening. Okay, the RISD thing. So I'm going to be talking at Mount Hood Community College this month for the Dead Mathematician Society. And Rhode Island School of Design, though, is already had just had a conference, a cool conference. And I'd say like my peer group is there doing stuff, presenting stuff along these same lines. So I feel like in terms of going forward, we have a growing sort of, you could say, faculty. This was Synergetics University, and there was a clip with me in it about talking about the strategy for getting synergetics and Bucky stuff into the curriculum. And I'll double underline, yeah, let's teach it in English because, imagine Edgar Allan Poe or, say, Kafka had come up with, writing in this time, had come up with some cryptographic thing, kind of like, Neil Stephenson in Cryptonomicon. I think there's some Perl programming language in that. Like today, a literary author like a Hugh Kenner type could well put a lot of math in their quote unquote science fiction, or it could be futuristic, sort of like meant more as towards reality kind of writing, but still futuristic. But it could be in the humanities and embed a lot of math and stuff. And that's kind of where we're headed with the Fuller material. It's not like we're waiting for the math department to suddenly switch gears and say, okay, we could teach this now. It's more like in the humanities on the path side. So path and STEAM are kind of or path and STEM, or in other words, our quadrivium trivium way of thinking in some circles of how we divvy up academia into path and STEM or STEAM. Okay, math is on the STEM side. It's like STEMites. And then the path people, the pathites or whatever, they've got philosophy and history and theater and anthropology. That's the way I map it. And then you put an A in STEM to make it STEAM, and that too is anthropology, so they crisscross. So I'm just saying the synergetics is kind of arising in a literary tradition, and it's being studied in literary circles, we could say. You've been looking at my channel, you know what I'm talking about. So it's an interesting time in terms of cross fertilization across what we used to call the CP snow chasm, which was the two cultures theory, that the path and STEM were sort of going their own way, sort of like separating to a higher degree than we'd ever seen. And that level of higher specialization in operating manual for Spaceship Earth and Bucky's corpus circles that as a danger signal. Like this could be the problem. This could be the reason we wipe ourselves out, as we've lost the big picture, we've lost the narrative in a big picture sense. So an attempt to restoring a big picture, more of one, doesn't have to be universally adopted, but, something coherent and cohesive. We're doing this kind of a mathy thing on the humanities side, and thereby drawing closer to STEM. So I see synergetics as path reaching out to STEM more than the other way around. It's not particle physics trying to reach out to the humanities, which we'd call popularization. It's humanities staying pretty high level and not being popular. It's not a popularization synergetics. It's not an attempt to popularize the math. It's a literature in the literary tradition that contains math that could be of interest on the STEM side, but it originates on the path side. So that's where I'm going. And let's see. More next time. Talk to you later.